Welcome to What Are You Reading? A podcast of the Public Library of Mount Vernon in Knox County. I'm Christy.
And I'm Katie.
And this is Spooky Month. So we're really excited to get to pick something a little dark or different this month. And this time I picked Over the Woodward Wall by A. Deborah Baker. What did you pick?
I picked Relic by Lincoln Child and Douglas Preston. I read it on Libby, so I don't have a physical copy. But yeah, and I do like October, even though I don't really like horror books, because I have to read a little bit out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
So, and that's what this one was.
And you know, I had only seen the movie of Relic, so I have not read this one. But when Katie told me she picked it, I was like, oh, this one is, this is a monster movie, you know?
Yeah, did not know about the monster movie. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have read it.
Your brother's like suggested it, right?
Yes, my older brother has read the whole series. So the most recent one was on our new shelf. And I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. So I texted him and was like, well, first of all, can I handle this series?
Yeah.
And second of all, do I have to start at the beginning? And he said, yeah, fine. It would be fine for you. And yes, you do have to start at the beginning because there's a character arc. So, and in the beginning, I thought that Jason lied to me. It's a little... I will say that, so trigger warnings, especially at the beginning, it is very gory.
Okay.
There is also 2 children get murdered off the page, but you do get to peek into the autopsy of one of the children. Okay. Which is descriptive. And I thought of you when I read it, yeah, because there are also 2 dogs that get murdered. So, but once you get past that, it's a lot faster pace, and it's kind of, I liken it to those romance books where you've got that down and dirty sex scene. And then after that, it's like, and then they went to bed.
Sure.
So it's like, and then the monster killed someone. So
fade to black.
Yes. So it's a lot easier. And by the end, oh my gosh, there was a twist at the end that I wasn't sure in the midst of reading this if I was going to read the next one. And now I feel like I have to read the next one.
Okay. That's a pretty good plug then.
Yeah.
I mean, that definitely makes you want to pick this up and maybe follow the whole how many books do you know are in the series? I
think it's in the mid-30s now.
Wow.
Early to mid-30s. Yeah.
Crazy.
Which I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
But the so the gist of the book is in the 80s there was the book takes place in the New York Museum of Natural History. And in the 80s, they sent a crew down to South America somewhere. I can't remember exactly where, or even if it was like a specific place. But they were looking for a tribe that was supposed to be extinct. And in the midst of this, they come across this relic, this tiny little figure of this like horrific beast of some kind. Ooh. Yeah. And they go to take it home because in the 80s you took stuff home. And we find out later that everyone associated with this trip is dead. Oh. They were all killed pretty much at once. Either everyone from the boat that carried the relic, dead. Everybody who flew home, plane crashed, everybody's dead.
Oh my gosh.
So all they have is the notebook of one of the leaders of the expedition. And then you fast forward to the 90s, present day, and the museum is putting on a superstition exhibit because, like most public institutions, they need to get people in the door. Mm-hmm. And the way they're choosing to do it is through this superstition exhibit, where this figure is going to be like the showstopper. Mm-hmm. But people start going missing. Others are found, and this is where it gets, they're disemboweled, and then the creature breaks their skull open for something inside. Mm-hmm. So that's where it's a little gritty when you start. After you figure out that that's its method of killing, then it's like, okay, yeah, let's move on. It's fine. And so the character that's throughout the books, I mean, I don't know, the rest of them might be, but this is called the Pendergast series. So I knew Pendergast is an FBI agent from New Orleans who the boat landed in New Orleans. Okay. So he is up investigating in New York. Okay. So, because the New York police is like, whoa, we're in way over our heads here. So in the midst of all of that, we've got the leaders of the museum that are like trying to keep everything quiet. And we find out they've been keeping it quiet for a while. Ooh. So they're the ones that are kind of like, don't make a scene, don't. Yeah, no, like bad publicity. We have to get this going. Yeah. And meanwhile, Pendergast is like, we cannot have this gala. Oof. Because the whatever it is attacks at night. The gala is at night. Oh gosh. So and then we have the leader of the New York office of the FBI who takes over because obviously Pendergast isn't doing a good job. And he basically caters to the higher ups from the museum. So, and bad things happen. Ooh. That's all the further I'll go because like bad things happen. So they're trying to catch or kill whatever it is, and meanwhile getting this gala ready. And it does, like, the main action takes place during the gala. Okay. We had talked a little bit about it, and there is a lot that I do remember from the movie from the 90s that seem to still kind of line up. So that's pretty cool. I think that they tried to make a film that was at least close to which is a rare thing. It is. So, yeah, I told Christy the twist, and she's like, oh, yep, remember that. Oh, yeah. So that is true to the book, which is cool. It sounds awesome, and I'm really glad that you ended up picking it up and getting through all of the hard stuff. Yep, there was a time that I was like, oh boy, because I read multiple books at one time, and I was preparing myself to be like, I tried to read Relic. Yeah. But here's the book that I actually read. So, but I finished it, and I'm so glad that I did. That's awesome. And I can't wait to read the next one. That's super high praise. So you guys have to come in and, or get on Libby like Katie did and check this book out, because it's perfect for spooky season. Perfect for if you want something that's dark and still, in a museum setting, gives you that little bit of dark academia vibes and stuff. This is perfect for it. Yep, and it is, if you don't like monsters, yes, it is a monster, but it's based in science. That's pretty cool. I'll say that. So, which is one of the reasons that I don't like horror is I don't like unexplainable things, because I've always said real life is scary enough. I don't need to be worrying about anything that's supernatural. Yes. So it appears supernatural, but actually is not. So we'll go with that. I like it. I like that. That's another little intriguing thing. So hopefully you guys will pick it up and let us know what you think. And hey, Katie might be on to the next book. Perfect for the holidays. Yes. But yeah, I'm looking at the cover of yours. Yeah. I'm intrigued. Right before we started filming, I told Christy that it kind of looks like a kid's book.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of small, thin, and it has...
It's a quick read.
Yeah, it has... Looks like children on the front cover. So.
Absolutely. And I told Katie, indeed, that this is an adult fiction fantasy, but our main characters are two children, Avery and Zib. And Zib is short for Hepzibah, but you can see why she goes by Zib.
Yep, Zib is definitely better. All right.
So this is actually written under a pen name, and the author is Shanann McGuire, but she's writing under this pen name. This book is about two children who live completely different lives, but they're only 3 doors apart from each other. So we have Avery, who his parents are accountants and a pianist and piano teacher, who lives a very straight-laced life. So he's your perfect little button-up shirt, you know, little genius, and he goes about his day every day the same way, very regimented, very structured. Zib, who lives 3 doors down, she's raised by artists. So her father is a milkman, her mother is a famous painter, and they have raised their child to be her own thing. So she's very wild, she loves to be outdoors, she loves to get into trouble, she loves to wear mismatched socks and fly by the seat of her pants. These two kids go to separate schools. So the line in their school districts happens to run right between their properties. So these kids have never met before. It just so happens that the day that we start our book, there's road construction. So a water main has broken, and their usual routes to school, both going separate ways, but that water line runs right down the middle, they both cannot go any further. And the adults are like, you're going to have to turn back. You know, it's not safe. So they each take a different way. They end up meeting, and they get to the end of the street where there should continue to be street, and there's a stone wall there, covered in moss and flowers, and they decide to climb over. And when they do, they end up in another world. Wow. And it's pretty awesome. So this is a really quick read. It's right about 204 pages. And as you can tell, there's some blank space in here too. So guys, I read this in one night, and I know 200 pages, but it is such a great, fun read. Because where we end up is what I would call like a mix between, Alice in Wonderland and the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, wow.
So as soon as we jump over the wall, we meet a talking owl. And she really helps to let the kids know a little bit about the world, where they are, why they're there. They've landed in the borderlands. And the way that she explains it is that if they'd had an idea of where they wanted to go in their minds when they jumped over the wall, they would be there. But where they're at is kind of like a limbo place. Oh. So they're kind of nowhere, but somewhere all at the same time. So very much, if you love the Cheshire Cat, if you love the nonsensicalness of Alice in Wonderland, or even the Wizard of Oz, you're going to love this. We end up discovering that they need to follow the improbable road, which might sound familiar, and it is brick, but it is like covered in a sheen, like a rainbow, and it's improbable because it should not be there, but it is. So it was just such a fun fantasy. Now there are dark times. We're lost in the woods. There are wolves. There are monsters. And these two children are exact opposites, but they end up creating this amazing friendship that is very much improbable, almost impossible. But, you know, we're in a world where anything is possible now. Wow. Yeah, it was great.
That sounds really good. I might have to pick that one up too.
And I will say, guys, it's a cliffhanger. So, and Katie's keeps going too. We do have book 2. Oh, so good. We've got book 1 here. We do have book 2 here too. I'm checking it back in, so it'll be available for you guys if you want to come check it out. Because even though we've got 2 children, it absolutely connected with me as my inner child, but also somebody that loves an escape in fantasy. So if you are an escapist, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. I fell in love with every character. There are kings and queens in this world. There are people who might be trying to get the children off the path for nefarious reasons. But then you've got your great characters that are there to guide them and make sure that they stay on the path they're supposed to be on. Yeah. It was great. So 10 out of 10, do recommend. It wasn't as spooky as I thought it was going to be. But like I said, there's those moments you're lost in the woods. Are there wolves out there? Is there a stone that might turn into a creature? You know, is it friend or foe? So that did keep me on the edge of my seat. Wow. Yeah, it's awesome. So 10 out of 10, do recommend. And it was so quick. So if you want something just short and fun, this is it. And there's more in the series. So that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us on another podcast. We both loved our books.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Which is awesome. So it's always fun when we get to read something that we didn't think we were going to like, and then we end up loving it. So this has been a great one for us. We hope you all have a wonderful spooky season, and we'll see you next month. Bye.
Bye.